We're about to get it cranked up. I'm gonna talk about everything and anything, and we're just gonna be a wide-ranging, free-flowing conversation. I got a couple of questions, a couple of movies I'm gonna ask about. Kenyan movies at that.
Okay.
So, like I said, everybody take a deep breath, because in 10 seconds we're gonna crank this thing up.
Yeah, here we go.
Settle in.
Big smiles.
Big, giant smiles.
All right, and
Action. Hello, everybody. This is Tony Dismuke. Once again, we are here with the BlackRaters.
.com.
We got a couple of special guests today. You'll notice that there are no women on the panel today. But next week, that's all that's going to be on the panel. Women.
That's right.
But right now, I'm gonna let Marcos Mays take over.
Hear the music banging, catch us at the hot spots and know it don't stop. See us on top, looking down at the sky. Bet you didn't know sons of men could fly way up high, even with the world on our shoulders. Break it to boulders, make the world more nobler, lot less colder. Said we getting older. Our breath was the bounce of a supernova. Yeah. If you live life, live it like wow. Check out the now before you go out. We at the show now. We breaking doors out to the flow. Cause we breaking down doors. Tony Dismuke. Yeah. That's right.
Hey, we right here.
my joy.
BlackRaters. And for those who don't know, I'm gonna make this quick. BlackRaters is that black energy, that black light, that black everything. This is a place where we rate movies and television shows from the black perspective.
Your opinion.
Matters.
That's right.
So we got a couple of special guests on the show today. We're gonna bring this song down. So what we're gonna do right now is this. I'm gonna introduce a couple of people that are special guests on the show today. The reason I have these gentlemen on the show today is because both of them have a different scope of experience as far as with culture, with movies and television, inside, outside. So it gives us an opportunity to hear things about movies and television from a different perspective, because we as black people are not monolithical. We are all one perspective because it's black, but we are all different perspectives. So first off, I'm going to introduce a gentleman that has become a very close friend. A simple name, we call him Big Ted.
That's right, in the building.
Now, Big Ted, I'm going to let him explain himself, what he does and why he's on this panel.
Who is you, Big Ted?
All right, so my name is Big Ted. Of course, I've got some many African names. Thomas Kwaka Omolo. I'm Kenyan. Well, Kenya is, of course, in Africa, on the eastern part of Africa. And it's surrounded by 7 great countries that we call the East African Community.
Hit him with this.
We have Somalia, we have Ethiopia, we have South Sudan, we have Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, and the Congo.
How many people?
Well, total number, we're now hitting about 390 million people.
That's a lot of family right there.
That's a lot of people. That's a lot of
family.
people.
That's big time right there.
And for me, I think the East African coast for a long time has been underrated, because what people have heard here, what people have seen is the West Coast, which is the Nigeria, Ghana, and everywhere else. But we're here. And if you don't know,
Now you know.
now you know.
If you don't know, we've been here.
And we all, I mean, we the beginning and the end and everything in between. So, now, Ted, I'm going to ask you this quick question. Now, when you first decided to come to the States, what was the capacity that you were coming in?
All right. Okay, so I'm actually the ambassador consul general for Kenya in LA, which means I check out and supervise basically Kenyans and Kenyan interests on the west coast of America. But I'm a big Pan-Africanist, and I believe that it's time for Africa. There's great interest. Everybody wants a piece of Wakanda, so everybody's trying to create their own Wakanda. For us, it's good because it gives us good publicity, and the attention for once is on Africa and the stories that Africa has to tell. So one of the things that I'm here to do in America, basically, there's a saying in Africa. It says that until the lion learns how to write, the stories of the hunt will only glorify the hunter.
Oh my God.
And I believe that for a long time, all our stories in Africa have been told to us from the hunter's perspective. It's never been the lion talking and saying what it had before. We grew up with books which told us that the first person to see a lake in our country was in 1858. And we're like, what do you mean? Does it mean we were not staying here? We're not people? You know, or the first person up a mountain and everything. And we've been in this area for a very long time.
Right.
So I think it's time for us to tell our stories in Africa, and I thank
Are you talking about the stolen Lake Victoria?
Well, Lake Victoria, most definitely. Yes, you're right, guy. You're right, guy. 1858, that's right.
Well, that's my
you
man.
know, and before then, we called it Nam Lolwe.
There it is. There it is.
Lolwe.
Remember that
No
beat.
way.
Nam Lolwe.
Thank you, Teach.
Yeah, and my people grew up there, and my forefathers were there at the same place, even before the guys who came and said that they discovered it. But we don't fault them. What I fault right now is, I think to make a mistake is not a bad thing, but to continue making it and accepting it is where the problem comes in.
That's where the problem's at.
So one of the things that we have decided to do as Kenya is take the lead and be the leader in being able to create and provide a platform for Africans to tell their stories. And we start with ours. We also have great heroes, from different tribes. So what happens in Kenya, we have 47 tribes.
47 tribes.
47.
We speak different languages.
Yeah.
In LA, we got 175 gangs. Yeah. You know, I mean,
very simple.
and the reason I say that is that you have your tribes.
Yeah.
And the problem that we face when when we become tribal and forget about that strand that connects us all, which is our blackness.
Yeah.
It's harder to look at another man as your brother.
Yep.
Because of a line some guy drew in the sand. I say this every week. Some guy drew a line in the sand and said, this is this country and this is this country, and now you're fighting.
Actually, let me come in there. Tony, I believe, and I say this with all due respect to everybody who's gone in and done a DNA thing or whatever. I don't believe in that.
Hey.
Because
What's your perspective on that?
you cannot tell me that all these years there's never been anybody from Kenya whose DNA has been found in all these things.
Right.
I've never met anybody from Kenya, from Uganda, from Zambia, from Chad. I don't believe that. Now, do you know why?
Why?
And do you know why the DNA almost turns out the same?
Talk to him.
It's because before the coming of these people, there were no countries.
There it is.
Right.
Are you black
So
Americans
we
hearing
just,
this?
all of us just came from one place. Now you call it a different thing, but there was no boundary.
There it is.
So my people walked across, others walked on the other side, and whatever. And the truth is this: all along the coast of Africa, until now, we have caves where the slaves were kept. So where did the slaves go to?
Right.
So some of them ended up in islands everywhere. That's why we have black people in Caribbean, Jamaica, everywhere, even in India.
Puerto Rico.
People, yes. So
Thailand.
we exported our black genes everywhere in the world.
Yep.
You know,
So there was
I
no-
think
go ahead.
I think that we are Africans. Period.
There it is.
That's blackness is what it is.
Black is black, baby.
Before I go any further, I'm going to step back and I want to introduce my second guest.
You gonna make me come after this man?
Shots
Boy,
out.
you know what?
Just
Shy
like trying to
now.
perform after Michael Jackson just got off stage.
You know what? I'm gonna tell you like this.
Midwest.
I'm gonna tell you like this. Looking at us, this is like I'm introducing to you to your brother for the first time.
That's right.
But the thing is you always knew he was your brother.
That's right.
So, yeah, we flowing free. Everybody can say what they want to say, operate the way they want to operate. But my man of the hour right now is Ryan Porter. Now, I'm going to ask you to do this same favor for me. I want you to give me a little background on yourself and, kind of tell me what you're thinking about this BlackRater thing and, this union that we're trying to create for us.
Okay. So my name is Ryan Israel Porter. I am a filmmaker from Chicago, Illinois. I'm probably one of the few filmmakers from Chicago that's from the West Side.
Oh,
That's all you hear about is on the South Side when you watch TV and everything South Side. There's more than one side of Chicago.
Yes.
People don't realize that.
Shy is huge.
You know what I mean? Isaiah Thomas is from
Yes.
Chi-Town, from the West Side as well. And, I'm just repping my people and trying to create, just like trying to give to the world and, represent a voice that hasn't been represented. You know what I mean?
I mean, we met, and the funniest thing is that early on in this process of creating BlackRaters,
Yes.
we had a conversation. Remember that conversation?
Yeah, you said you wanted black people to rate black films and black product, and I said, tell me no more. Where can I sign up? That's what you said.
And the craziest part about it, he told me this story. We were at the HAP Awards.
Yes, sir.
And he told me this story of his wife, who was actually in the building. I don't want to get him in trouble for talking about his wife, but he said he kind of told her about the concept and about these black films. He's like, my wife loved black films. And that's the thing that is amazing. If you introduce this product, this African product, but it's not an African product, it's a black product. It's a black product. I mean, you have us with unbelievable talents all over the place, from fashion to food to culture to whatever, you name it. But we all sit back and we're trying to figure out who to support. If it's black supported, that's all I'm gonna say. So, Brian, tell me more about your world.
So my role is trying to find content. We had that discussion about black films and the amount of African films that were African programs that were on Netflix. And I remember going back and telling my wife, he gave me like a list. Yeah, man, watch this. And then I started telling my wife about it. And then a week later, she had binge watched like about 10 programs. And I'm like,
I hope she watched something from Kenya.
I'm sure she did.
Did she watch Country Queen?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, she's shaking her head. Yeah, she's shaking her
that's
head.
from Kenya, so
Yeah,
so I'm okay.
she watched more than I did. I felt jealous because I'm.
It's a bunch. It's a bunch.
Yeah.
But we're here for one reason, to tell you where it's at.
To tell us where it's at.
Because if you don't know where it's at, you can't support it because you can't see it.
You got to click that button.
Yeah.
And
subscribe.
after this, if you don't know,
Now you know.
The other thing that attracted me to BlackRaters and the discussion we had was that, this new trend now is this negativity for anything people of color.
Right.
That's right.
Like it's weird. It's this anytime they announce a new superhero or a new movie or a new actor that just cast, there seems to always be some kind of weird negativity surrounding it.
but I think for you it's much better. Every time they speak about Africa, the image that they project is this guy, this kid with flies everywhere, and
Yes.
a begging bowl,
Yes.
or a that street. I mean,
Yes.
I show people pictures of Nairobi, and they don't believe. In fact, I have a theory. My theory is very simple, and it's actually my mantra. Is that I'm not here to beg for anything.
There you go.
Kenya is rich. Africa is rich. I mean, Africa holds the biggest deposits for cobalt,
In the world.
which will drive the Tesla car. So
Which makes the cell phone.
we own the most amount of gold in the earth.
That's right.
Right.
And lots
we're
of
not
other, lots
rich?
of other things.
Keep it
so
alive.
every time a picture comes up of Africa, and what I'm trying to do is, through this whole networking, is to organize to take down conscious people to Kenya, so that they can just have a look, the vibe.
From past lives.
And if I'm to play music from Kenyan, the streets of Kenya, it will sound like just here
Right.
from LA.
And
Is
that's-
this do
and
they
that's
sound
why I
like this in
think-
Kenya?
Give it a little bit.
Yeah, that's smooth right there.
Love music.
That's Marcos Mays. Sounds of the drum.
That's this dude right here. I call him Amaze
That sounds like
because he
some
amazes
Chicago
me every
house
time I
music
look
right
up and
there.
talk to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. We're gonna do some
It's vibes.
Real
World,
quick.
You are in.
Wait, let me-
you are in
let me-
such a treat about what's about to hit you with all these artists and talented people ready to do change in the world. Stay tuned. BlackRaters.com. We about to do this.
That's right.
I mean,
Can I go back to my man's point?
Yes.
So, what you just said is kind of what's happening in Chicago right now,
right.
where the media has painted this picture of this war zone, the term Chirac. And my neighborhood was I grew up like a suburban kid in the middle of the city. We had gangs, but no one was shooting each other. There was drugs, but it wasn't New Jack City.
Right.
But, if you watch the media now, everybody's, oh man, I can't believe that. What's happening in Chicago? And they got this negative image because, like you said, the powers that be are using that to push their agenda. And you got to go to the city, just like you said, go to Africa because there's so much more there. And don't believe what you see on TV. And then we got to get people in position where they can create their own content, so we can show the other side of that.
Well, let me interrupt real quick on that. The thing is that, you know, I mean, and this is the best way to put it, is like there is money in chaos.
Yep.
There's a ton of money in chaos. And the thing is that, you know, if you let somebody tell you about someplace, you are left to whatever they choose to tell you about that place, right? As opposed to when you put your feet on the soil in West Africa, which I've done. And, you know, when you get there and you realize that, man, my color makes not 1 ounce of difference as to what happens to me today. That is a strong statement. You understand? I mean, that's when you look up and you go, wow, you know, I don't have to worry about, like they got a movie called Karen, right? Mm-hmm. Because think about that. A movie came about from people harassing us for doing nothing more than being black. Think about that. I mean,
I've never felt that feeling where my color didn't matter.
You know.
Yeah.
I've never. I'm sure you.
Yeah.
There's always like a background voice in my head, like, all right, always check your surroundings. There's a cop over there.
Right.
You know.
But
Yeah,
you're constantly getting reminders.
So for
That's
us,
the thing.
for us, it's a bit crazier. Can you imagine that we fought for independence from the colonialists, but they were using the same earth they were collecting in the country to fund the war, to fight.
To fight, oh my. It's like, let me take from you so I can kill you.
So they were taking your resources.
So they
to
would take the
oppress
gold
you.
out, go sell it, fund the army to come and still fight us.
Think
Wow.
about that.
All right?
Wow.
And right now, the biggest...
Sounds like the drug trade to me.
The biggest stockpiles of all these minerals are with the same guys who don't own even one mine in their country.
Wow.
And so
Well, the first step to change is a realization of what's going on.
that's
So,
it. You got to be.
That's the
You
first
got to
step.
understand that, you know, if it quacks like a duck, if it walks like a duck, it's typically a duck. You know, and the thing is that in our industry, the film industry, I mean, there is such a narrow window in which we here have to slide through to be able to get our products out there.
Yep.
And so, with that being said, I mean, I don't want to offend anyone, but I'm going to say this regardless. If the gatekeeper does not look like you, 9 chances out of 10, he's not, unless he can make a ton of money off you, and he knows he's going to make a ton of money off you, he's not going to let you through. Just that simple. I mean, you're going to run into these situations, and that's why black people with money, top to bottom, need to support the black film industry worldwide, not just here,
Support black business.
worldwide. And the reason being is like, I'm going to bring up a show. That's a Kenyan show
Come on.
that your wife watched,
Right.
which was Country Queen.
Country Queen, y'all.
Country Queen, Netflix, check it out.
Check it out.
It's up right now.
It's on BlackRaters.com pick, ain't it?
Yeah, it's a pick. Yeah.
Country Queen. Check it out, people.
Yeah, I mean, so with that being said, it's like the show, it's from Kenya. And it's funny, I went to the counselor's office, and Ted pulls out this list of movies. And when you're like me, you know, I eat, sleep, and breathe this stuff.
Right.
You know, this is what we do. I mean, I could literally count the number of movies 10 years ago that were foreign films black that I could find on this hand. Right? This hand. And the thing is that the content, if you look for it, you got to dig for it. You got to really put some effort in. So the 400 and some movies I've watched this past year, you know, Country Queen was one of them. It's a series on Netflix, and it tells a story from the Kenyan perspective. I mean, I don't want to give the story away, but I can just tell you this. When you first watch it, you're like, wow, in the United States, they would never accept that. In our culture, they wouldn't do that. Wait a second, they've been here longer than we've been here. Remember, we were transported here. They were always there.
Right.
So when they tell the story, let them tell their story. Don't judge their story because you think because you're an American or you're Brazilian or you are a South African or you're from Britain, you're still black. Your DNA strands run all the way back there. So just support black films. Country Queen, you will enjoy it.
What's Country Queen about?
Well, Country Queen is about this chick that's having an affair with this rich woman's husband. That's what it's about.
Scandalous.
What?
You know, I mean, like Prince would say, scandalous.
That's
you know?
juicy right there.
I mean, and so just go from there. And the reason that it's Country Queen, she has to go back to her hometown. Not giving any more away. Because if I tell you the story, you're not gonna watch the story.
They got drama like that in Kenya, bro?
Oh yes, most
What?
definitely.
He said, oh, yes.
Kenya is I tell everybody that Kenya is LA with good PR.
Right.
Well, damn.
Yeah,
You sound like you got some personal stories about
I mean, I'm just driving around, and I keep on telling myself, like, I wish I could bring guys from Nairobi here. What you have in this country is privilege and opportunities. So you have access to a lot of stuff that we may not necessarily have. And one of the things that brings me to America is to make sure that we can increase our capacity, our skill, to be as good as what is acceptable internationally. If I want to lock you out of a club, well, I'll look at you, I'll tell you, I don't like your shoes.
Yeah.
But what if you come with good shoes? You'll tell me, okay, maybe I don't like your jacket. But what if I come fully dressed up? You have no choice but to let me get in.
That's right.
But when I get in, you'll be like, listen, a drink is $100.
Right.
And if you don't have, you'll have to sit on the side. But if I have $200, I'm able to buy 2 drinks.
Yeah.
So for me, the biggest agenda for me is if I'm not on the table, then I'm on the menu.
There you go.
And
he's not lying. He's not lying
Or
about
you can
LA.
create your own club.
Yeah, he's not lying about LA. It's all about looks, because at one time I was a cable man, right, in Orange County.
Ooh, the
in Orange
cable
County,
guy,
right? I was a cable guy.
There's a movie for that.
And I went to LA, and there was this old bar called Bar One. It was a celebrity bar. You remember that? It was on
Bar One was
Sunset, West Hollywood. And I went up there, and I was suited and booted. Nobody knew who I was, right? And there was some ladies up there, but they were kind of different than the pretty look, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So the bouncer looked at him, and he said, oh, it's a private party. So they walked away, and I walked away with them, right? And then I'm thinking, you know what, this is LA, right? So I go back, and I come in, and he looks at me up and down, like you said, and he said, go on in. I walk in, Denzel, all the big timers. All the big timers, right? Now remember, I'm a cable dude in Orange County, right? So
That movies couldn't get seen without you.
T-Boz, she come in there. You remember T-Boz?
Yeah.
She said, y'all niggas in LA ain't worth shit. And I said, I ain't from LA. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and then somebody grabbed her, you know. But anyway, I ended up
Oh,
with.
come on. I thought the story was going to get better.
It is going to get better.
I
ended up with partying with Denzel, right?
Yeah.
And we was talking for a minute, and the ladies thought we was friends, right? So I went to the bar to get a drink, and the ladies chased me down and said, hey, you and Denzel want to dance with us? Some nice ones, right?
I learned this a long time ago. So for the last 12 years, I've worked for my former president.
That's right.
And the current president. I worked for them for 12 years. And one of the things that I was taught early in the game is, number one, never tell the king your problems.
Uh-huh.
So whenever you're with the king, don't heap your problems on them.
Yeah.
Because they're also there probably to have a good time and just to relax. So be a court jester. I don't know if you guys know about jesters. About when you play cards, there's a joker. So the joker in the king's court, his work was just to make the king happy. So whenever the king would come, if he would get bored or tired or pissed, the joker would appear, do some tricks and everything. The king would be like, I love that. And then he'll be in a good mood, and he's able to go in.
And nobody dies.
And I was told, listen, be the court jester every time you're in the king's court. That way, the king will always call you whenever he wants to chill out.
That's some fun, yeah.
Right.
So Denzel will always be like, hey, what's up? Are
Yeah.
you free? Are you free next week? You're like, yeah. He's like, listen, no. Everything's on me. Come, let's go to Hawaii. You're like, but I don't have, go with my jet. Okay. Where will I stay? No, you'll stay in my hotel. you know, because you're good company.
Right.
You know, so my thought is don't load it. And when you're with them, you don't have to be talking too many stuff. These guys just want to be normal, you know, just be like with my former president, I just be like, hey, listen, man, these shoes, how much did you buy these shoes for?
Yeah.
And then he'd laugh because nobody would dare ask him that question.
Oh, my God.
And so he'll be there laughing, and everybody thinks, my God, those guys are friends. They're actually telling jokes.
Right.
And I'm just risking my life. I'm just like, you know, like, where did you come on? You can't wear. You're a president. You can't wear such shoes.
You're right, man. You're right. You know what? When I talk to Denzel, if you talk to him like a normal brother, like my brother right here, and they love that, man, and they'll just bond with you like that. And the ladies, he was right, they was peeping that out. And I went to the bar to get a drink. They was like, hey, can you and Denzel? Now to clean up, this was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Long time ago. So I ain't trying to get Denzel.
Don't get
in
Denzel in trouble,
You know
man.
what I'm saying?
I mean, you know what? One of these days we're gonna get Denzel to come and sit down with us here
Yeah,
at the
he's in the
BlackRaters.
future, man. Denzel's
I
in
mean,
the future.
you know, we're claiming it now. I mean,
That's right.
I'm gonna tell you like this: the thing about blackness that you will quickly find out is that it has this incredible level of magnetism. At the end of the day, when you see a black movie, a black film, you feel like you got to tell somebody about it. Good quality work, you're going to tell somebody about it. And, you know, handcrafted black is something that, you know, you just got to have.
That's right.
And so when it comes to this movie I was talking about, Country Queen, it's like the network that has formed behind film, right? You always see a film group or a film club. You go on to Facebooks and all these different social media sites. There's all these film groups. Well, this is the biggest film group that there's ever going to be. And the reason that it's going to be that way is because we're not looking at films that are just black. We look at white films too. Just because we're black does not mean that we limit ourselves, because the measure of man is against his competition. All right? And the thing is I didn't ask to be your competition. You made me your competition. So you make movies and you give awards, and when you give those awards, you know, the crowd that you are leaning towards is going to typically support a project that looks like you. Right. Whereas, I mean, I'm going to say it like I said. I mean, Malcolm X, to me, Denzel should have won the Oscar for the movie. And the fact of the matter is that imagine.
He had to be crooked before he took it. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, but think about this, though. I mean, we're writer.
That's
I
right.
mean, this man's got a catalog of movies as long as my arm that he can, you know, just say, here, take a look at it, right? But think about this. When we are measured, we should measure ourselves first. We should measure ourselves first. And what I mean by that is this, is that I don't need someone else telling me how black this should be or not be. Blackness is blackness. And if somebody going to tell me, it's going to be somebody from my family. There's certain things that nobody can say to you but your family, right?
Right.
And there's certain things that you will do for your family that you're not doing for anyone else.
But let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Are we willing to listen to the truth?
Yes, I.
Yes, we are.
Okay, because
BlackRaters.
one of the things that I aim for is perfection.
That's right.
Right? I don't have to eat bad food in the house simply because you're my wife.
You right there with us. This is where we at.
All right.
the truth.
So you don't have to give me something which is bad because I'm black for me to support you.
Hell no.
Especially if I've tasted another level of excellence.
That's right.
I think Tyler Perry just said something very similar to that
Yeah.
a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
About
Let me ask my brother from Kenya, man. Do they show a lot of black American movies out there?
Well, I've watched quite a number.
Yeah. What's your opinion on
and
it?
of course, I have the ratings. I know the top, I know the middle class, and then I know the other ones which are almost startup. Now, remember that I rate them according to what we are producing there. Okay. So there's some which, even if they're rated in Kenya, they will not actually be above that. So those are at the bottom with other movies. But they're very, very good movies which I can watch. But also it depends with your taste, you know. And someone, I was out here the other day, and someone told me something crazy. He told me, Ted, listen, I like what you're doing. Your stuff is good, but you need to be an outsider with an insider's look.
There it is.
So there comes in collaborations. I think for a movie, it can have a good plot from Kenya, but if it's not jointly done, then it will only be good to be consumed in Kenya. It can't be consumed here. So I think if we come together and we're able to get our writers in a room, then the story is built up with a Kenyan eye and an Black American eye, and both of them just are running next to each other, and you can just get it. Because
that sounds like a great recipe
The
right
plot
there.
is almost the same.
That's a great recipe, right?
But you know what? We never question foreign films when they get Oscar nominations or we get all of this press. I've watched films where I don't know anything about it.
No
I just
names,
heard
no
that
nothing.
it was good, and then I sit and watch. It doesn't even have to be in English. I'll sit and read the subtitles just like, oh, I heard it was good.
You need to check out BlackRaters.com. They got so many foreign Black African films.
It's so much
You'll
I'm all
find
about
it,
that
yeah.
life. All about that
You
life.
know, now, one of the things that I think that is fascinating about how this thing came about is that, you know, we were sitting at home the other day and, you know, I saw I surf films. I mean, I just hunt. You know, if I see somebody Black, I typically stop. And when I see them, I click on it to see. I'm going to tell you, Netflix needs to stop being sneaky with some of the stuff they do.
It's the algorithm.
Yeah, but the picture's Black and the story's not. You know, it doesn't even have you might see the Black character for 2 seconds.
Right.
You know, and don't treat us like that. I mean, treat us right, and we'll watch right. Because I'm going to tell you, if you tell me a good white story, I'm going to watch it. You tell me a good...
I can explain that.
Go ahead.
So Netflix has this algorithm, but what people don't realize is Netflix also creates different covers for different films based on what they think you like.
Right.
So if you like Black films, you're going to see a cover of Stranger Things with the Black character.
With the Black character.
And then it'll have you thinking he's the star of the show.
Right,
You know, where
and he's not.
one of 5.
Right.
Actually gets shot before the movie starts.
Yeah, that's how Netflix and I think Netflix is the one who does it the most, but
The most.
others will do that, and their algorithm is predicting what they think you're gonna like, and it'll show you imagery back that
To
up,
suck you in.
even though it may not be true.
Well, I mean, I'm going to say this real quick. And I mean, one of the things that I'm going to start doing is, I mean, right now Netflix is number 1. Most content for Black people, period.
Right.
Now, you know, you got shows out there, City on the Hill. I don't know if you've seen that.
What's that?
Kevin Bacon, FBI.
I like Kevin Bacon.
Showtime, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know of it. It's good stuff.
Man, and I'm sorry I don't have his name. The dude that played Ren in Straight Outta Compton.
Did you ever see Bacon in the cotton field?
Yeah.
Oh, what is that?
What?
Tell me about that.
Oh my
See,
God!
this
You
is what
got me with
happens.
the title. Come on, tell me about it.
Cotton field is a classic.
Send into that mic. I want to hear this
Bacon
fully.
in the cotton field?
The cotton. You got to research that, man. That was like Kevin Bacon and that one brother. We
can't
got to
even think of
research
his
his
name,
name.
yeah.
Great actor.
What is this, like 90s, 80s?
70s.
I think 70s.
Yeah.
This is early Kevin Bacon?
Early Kevin
Like
Really
before
raw.
Friday the 13th? Because I think that was like 81.
Maybe the same. Maybe around that time.
Okay.
Yeah, but he was with one brother, and I'm gonna research his name. Forgive me for not knowing your name, but he was a great actor. Him and Kevin Bacon was great chemistry between the two, and there was a court scenes. And don't you say nothing about my mama. You know how that's funny. Yo, check that out for BlackRaters.com.
I mean, that's
I had
the-
to say that.
Well, the good thing is that this is what we do. I mean, you know, we see shows that make us feel good, and we, you know, I can't help but to tell you about it. I mean, because one of the things that I think we need to do more of is, instead of like saying I found a great thing and not tell anybody, if you find a great thing, tell everybody.
It's a great icebreaker.
Because if it's a Black film or a Black director, I mean, some actress, they're going to benefit from your support.
Preach.
And the support that we give is going to determine how we live. I'm gonna just tell you just like that. Because
But let me
Preach.
ask you.
Hold
Let
on,
me
hold
ask you. Where do we start from? Do we start from the fact that we have been made to feel that our things are not good enough?
well, that's why we're here, because we get to rate now. We get to tell you what we think about the product.
Let me add to that. Everybody has a cell phone.
Yep.
Everybody has a Facebook.
Yep.
Everybody has a Twitter, an Instagram, we are our own self-promoting. If you can post pictures of your lunch,
Or your butt.
you can post pictures about that show you watched. We are, though. I mean, we're living in that world now. Where everyone-
They don't have to worry about that now. They don't have to worry about that now. They can go to one location, and that's it right there. You see that flag? That's
right.
Wait a second. I said flags.
Well,
know,
they can also hashtag BlackRaters
That's what
on
we
their
need.
posts.
Yeah.
Right? Talk about a film that you love and then hashtag BlackRaters so everybody can know about it.
So we can rate it.
So we can
you
share it.
rate it.
Now, this is the thing, and one of the reasons I'm so happy that I have Big Ted, the Kenyan ambassador, here with us tonight
See,
is
in the
this:
joint.
that we actually have an office on the Ivory Coast in the city of Abidjan.
Big ups to D'Angelo.
and now you have one in Kenya.
See how things happen.
You see that? Big bang, yo. Big
It's-
bang.
It is really simple. I mean, let's just be real about it. If I had, if I'd never traveled to Africa, I've been all over the place. Japan, to the island of Cyprus. I've been all over the place.
International.
If I hadn't traveled to Kenya and heard stories and met actresses and actors and directors and filmmakers, I wouldn't. I might not have seen it the way I'm seeing it now. The way I'm seeing it now is that if we can put an office and spread the word about, because let's be real about it, we're trying to just promote blackness at the end of the day and who we are. We are great inventors. We are great artists in every capacity. We're imitated often, never been duplicated.
We are the culture creators.
We are the culture.
But for those that are less melanated, if you add all colors together, you get black. So you're included also. So
That's right.
I mean,
BlackRaters.com.
we watch your movies too. You make,
We're forced to. We're forced to.
I mean,
We watch it.
we got, there are artists of yours musically, for instance.
Right.
I mean, who you think was supporting Hall & Oates?
Oh, come on now.
Who you think that was?
Yeah,
that was us. We like the music.
I love me some George
I
Michael.
mean, it ain't a brother that's over the age of 40 that doesn't know who Boz Scaggs is. You don't even know who Boz Scaggs is. We do. Boz Scaggs, Dirty Low Down. Check it out. I mean, the thing is that there are characters that we have, Silence of the Lambs, one of the greatest acting jobs I've ever seen. I've never seen a person standing still scare the hell out of people the way that Hannibal Lecter did. Think about that. I mean, they just took a camera and they panned it down the hallway, and he's standing there with his hands to his side like this in a blue jumper.
I worked in a law field before, man, so I don't know. I've seen some scary people.
I don't want to work where you were. But, I mean, as far as on film, though.
Yeah.
But let me ask something. Let me ask something. So three of you are from here. I'm the only one from.
Our bloodlines
I'm the fresh one off the boat. So, what do you think Africa and Kenya needs to do to be able to get brothers here and the whole market and everybody to know what we have?
I'm gonna let them answer first.
What do you think we need to do?
So to
Is
repeat
it
the
our
question.
music, our vibe, or everything? What do you think we need to do to make you understand and know what Kenya is now or what Africa is now?
I think, so I work around a lot of people who travel to Africa, but that's because they can afford it. And I think the cost of traveling is scary and intimidating for a lot of people of color, Americans. I got a lot of relatives in.
Sorry, let me ask you, how much do you think it will cost you to go for a safari?
For a safari or to travel to Africa?
To travel to Africa to Kenya for safari?
I'm thinking at least $2,000.
Two?
2 to 5, maybe more, depends. And again, I'm only basing this on people that I know that have traveled. And they have big pockets, so they're spending $20,000 on a trip.
So what if we say we have this annual pilgrimage to Kenya every year, and BlackRaters is going to take 100 guys, 200 guys. We shall go in a big pack. Musicians, actors.
The good ship, hooroo.
Everybody.
Everybody.
And we say maybe we get a deal of like $3,000, and we say we're going to save for the whole year.
The new
Right,
Black Star.
right.
The
And
new Black Star.
But when we get there, there is something to do. We're not just going there to just look
stand
at
around and look
animals
at each
for
other.
10 days. No, we'll go into business, into work, into, the guys want to do spiritual, whatever you want to do.
I love that, but my people are people of culture, of habit, I should say.
Creatures, yeah.
Human beings.
They
yeah.
are. You know, I got a hard enough time trying to get my mom to try cinnamon butter. It's 2 ingredients she had before: cinnamon and butter. It's
go
in one
vegan.
place.
They don't go
And
together,
she will
baby.
fight
They don't
me
go together.
tooth and nail to try different things. And I think what first we need to do is start creating this thing that draws them. I know, like people like Steve Harvey does their tours, where they'll go to Jamaica for a weekend, and people will go there because there's all these concerts and there's all these artists, and then there's this fun and they expect it, and then they do this deal that they can pay on in monthly installments.
Exactly.
And I
That's-
think
But why can't we do the same
we
thing?
can,
That
and that's,
every
and
year.
that's what we need to do, and that's what you just said. You have to find some spokespeople that's going to say, "I'm going to have the pilgrimage to Africa, and we're going to have
BlackRaters is going to have a pilgrimage
There we
to
go.
Africa.
There
all
we
right?
go.
The
And
new
so
Black
if
Star.
you
And then you
have
gotta
any
create the
interest, let us know.
The new good ship, Haru.
Because right now, my people from Chicago, they love going to Jamaica, they love going to Mexico,
Close.
and they love going to like Florida and Vegas. And if it's not those 4 places, it's hard enough to get them there. But if we can create a new culture, if we can create a habit where we're doing this every year and it's something that draws them in, there's going to be some R&B festival or some hip-hop festival or some film festival. And like you said, just create this program, make it easy, make it accessible.
Well, I'm gonna say this. All right. Like I was saying, he just hit me with this just now. I have to digest what I just heard, and because this is where we were trying to get to anyway. We have an office in West Africa. Ted's going to open an office in East Africa. All right. Now the thing is, this is the beauty of all of this is that my man D'Angelo Waddington is in the city of Abidjan right now. We have office space there. We have a podcast studio there. One of the most beautiful things in the world is to be able to talk to each other, and it doesn't matter the language. So on the Ivory Coast, they speak French. So we're going to bring in guests that we would normally not look at here in America because they speak a different language, right? But I love Netflix for this because you can change that language. It's once you listen for about 5 minutes, it don't make a difference.
1 click away.
1 click away. So we're going to have some of the artists that, we're overlooking, and we're going to try to get them to go to the studio there. And Africa's so big, by him saying, yes, let's try to put, we are going to put an office in Nairobi. That is, so now voices can be heard from the eastern side and the western side of Africa. And then we'll try to get one in South Africa. Then we're going to try to get one in Brazil. And the reason I even say that is
Brazil, we're coming. I'm a percussionist, and I got to be in that one of them festivals.
That's what I'm
That's
talking
my
about.
bucket list. Shall we put in there?
That's what I'm talking about.
now imagine this scenario that we're talking about, where you can travel to a different country, and you go as a group of 100 or whatever, or bigger if we can get it there. But let's say that all of these countries that have, great programming, television shows, let's say we want to go and visit Sao Paulo, Brazil. We take a group of Americans and Kenyans and whoever else wants to join us, and we go to Sao Paulo, Brazil, to learn and see each other's cultures real time. Because I've always said this, and I always say this every episode, is that when you look at a television screen or you look at a picture, there's depth of field. There are things going on in the background. And they can tell you so much about that picture or that film. And a film is nothing but a moving picture. So a bunch of pictures, that's all it is. So your eye will notice things about culture, style, food, music. All of your senses are going to be engaged. And the thing is that I watched a show, I'm watching this comedy, and I don't even know the name of it. Right now it's Brazilian. And I have not laughed as much as I've laughed on a film. I think it's called Unsuspicious, and it's on Netflix as well. And what happened was I watched this show called The Brotherhood, which I need you to watch.
I think I might have seen that. It's on Netflix?
Yeah, but the thing is the guy that's starring, it's on Netflix.
Yeah.
The guy that's starring in it He's this great Brazilian singer, which this is how this chain of dominoes works. This is it's gonna sound weird, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I'm gonna let it go the way it goes. So he pulls up in front of my house. We're outside talking about BlackRaters, and this is a few weeks ago. And I said, man, I was watching this show called The Brotherhood. It's about a Brazilian prison, and I said, and it stars this brother Sal. Jorge, I believe that's his name. He's this musician. I had never really, I've heard of him and heard a little bit of his music. But think about that. From watching a show, I find out that the artist is a musician. So not only am I watching him, listening to him as well now. And that's one of the things that comes from watching. You learn things about the culture, the people, their customs. And that's something that is educational. And that's why we should watch more black films. I just want to ask, has anybody looked up and seen, and this name of this movie is hard to say. The name of the show is called King's Horseman.
Yes.
That sounds familiar.
What's that about?
I just watched this. And King's Horseman, I don't give 5 fro's out to nobody. Because you can get the 1 fro, the 2 fro, the 3 fro, the 4 fro, maybe a 4.75 fro, but very few shows get a 5 fro from me. And if I pick it out and have to, give it a bigger number, it must be good. This show is about a king. And when you start watching the show, he says right from the beginning that it is his last days on earth, right? Nice. Today is the last day.
Like an old Hollywood film noir.
Somewhat, yes. So not gonna give the story away. Part of their custom is this man is going to commit suicide. And so whatever he wants, he gets.
Okay, that's deep.
Now this is after the British invasion. Now mind you, this is based on a true story. This is not something that was made up by a writer. It's based on a true story. So he gets whatever he wants. So he is, going through the traditions of his people. Well, the British is taken over by then. And so they find out that this king is going to commit suicide. And what do? He can't take his own life. Think about that. He can't take his own life. It's his customs, his traditions in a land that was his first. And now you come in and tell this man that he can't do what he has chosen to do as part of his customs and religion. And he makes a statement, and this is not giving the story away, but the thing is that if he does not do this, great harm could come to everyone else in this community. He is willing to sacrifice himself for his people, which I found fascinating. But when you hear how these people talk in this movie, the aggressiveness in their voice, how much their culture means to them, you will learn a lesson about your own culture. You should never let anyone tell you that what you do and what your grandmama did and what your great-grandmama did and your great-great all the way down the line did, you can't let them tell you that that's wrong. Because at the end of the day, before you came into my life, it was right. So check this movie out. You check this movie out.
Yeah, that's on Netflix now, right?
And for me, my thought is basically this. Even in the good book, it talks about the prodigal son who said, I'd rather go home and sweep or do normal work, but I'm home.
Right.
And that's my thought to everybody of black origin. Just come home.
Hey.
Because by coming, and I would like to break that whole thought that it's going to be expensive, it's going to be, we're still spending more money on alcohol and chasing women.
Come on.
I got quiet on the chasing women part.
But you're right, though.
If those that want to come, it's a spiritual experience.
Yep.
It's about you connecting with your people. And once you walk in, I'm looking around this table. I'm not seeing anybody here who would stand out in Nairobi.
Really, man?
Nobody, none of you
That's
would.
what I'm talking about.
In fact, you guys will be so normal, so ordinary, that you can walk in the most downtown part of Nairobi and nobody will even understand your English. They will just think you're another kid, spoiled kid with good English.
Really?
That's what I'm talking
100%.
about.
I mean, and that's the thing that I'm telling you, when you look into these windows, which are your television set, you know, a movie screen, look at it as a piece of art. And when you look at art, you see the brushstrokes. That's when you know that it's good. Because you can see there are no brushstrokes in this. This is real. These people have done a great job of creating a product. They may not have had the big giant budgets that we get here, but they made the project. And I'm a writer. I mean, I got a book called Game 7.
Game 7, check it out.
And I mean, it's a book, a movie, screenplay, a documentary, blah, 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 blah.
Tell them the plot about
I'll
Game
buy
7.
one. I'll buy one.
Tell them the plot about Game 7, though. The plot is what's
I
going
mean,
to
it's one of those situations where, you know, it's an FBI agent named Paul Wells, and he's in pursuit of a serial killer that uses a famous NBA basketball player's stats, his points, his rebounds, assists, and steals, as plot points for his murders during the NBA Finals. I mean, that's the story, right?
Where do I sign up for that? You need a director?
Hey, bro, I mean,
it's a movie, man, right there.
But see, this is what the point I'm trying to make about black film is this, right? You could support, everybody in this room has watched a movie where they were like, you know what? It wasn't an A, it wasn't a B, it wasn't a C, but it was good. You know what I mean? And the thing is that all we need is the opportunities, the support systems for black filmmakers. I mean, Woman King, Viola Davis, you went to that convention with for Woman King, right?
It was a Q&A with Gina Prince Bidewolf. How do you pronounce her last name? Bidewolf.
When you watch a lot of when you watch a lot of Nigerian films like we do, I guarantee you that there are actors and actresses in every single one of those movies that we cannot pronounce the name, but some great work has been done.
So yes, I did go to a Q&A.
Now tell me some of the things that that you were hearing and what you were witnessing there.
You know what? It's funny that you were saying what you were just saying about having more people watch black content, and I think one of the ways to do that is to get Hollywood filmmakers, Hollywood actors, people who have recognizable faces doing these products, because that draws eyes. Right. You know, we follow the familiar. So if we know that dude from that thing we like is going to be in this movie, we're not going to click past it. We're going to be like, oh, let me see what this is about.
So for us in Africa, and I speak for Kenya, we have decided we shall not be on the menu. We shall be on the table.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right? So I know everybody's after our Wakanda piece, and everybody wants to put that on their table. I don't know how much you think. My friend just made a movie with $12,000. You know, in Kenya, which means you and your $1 million can come to Kenya and make the endless movies through your eyes with the actors who are there, because we have everything. We have everything that you see here.
You got
is there. All the scenes, everything.
No. I'm gonna say this to you.
That sounds like an invitation to me.
One of the things that you will see when you watch some of the Kenyan films, when they run around the countryside and stuff like that. And man, you talk about beauty. I'm talking about like just stunningly beautiful things that we don't find here. You know, these guys are in the bush and the outback, and I'm just like, man, look at all that green.
You talking about a living screensaver.
Exactly, exactly. And that's the point I'm trying to make to you. One of the things, when I was in Abidjan, and that's the reason that we have an office there.
Yep.
So I got an opportunity to meet with, I spoke with this on the last podcast, I'll make this quick. Kaladunde, I believe is his name, but he is over the lottery system for the Ivory Coast. And the one thing that he said that is just a message that I can continue to pass on, is that if it creates jobs and it can bring people out of poverty, the lottery system there actually throws money behind like independent filmmakers to make their films. because it's going to. You know what? You've been on a film set. You know what's up.
That sounds like an invitation to me.
So
if you're a filmmaker, what you're saying is you go to Africa and you can get some funding and you can make your film.
my partner right now, D'Angelo Waddington, is right now over on. He's setting up the shop, the BlackRaters office right now, and he's there on a television show, which is a French film. Mm-hmm. So, and you know, the thing is there was it's like a soap opera basically, mm-hmm. and so while there, another gentleman from Canada, mm-hmm. who was the DP on that show, is now telling a story there because his lineage is from there.
Okay.
But the point I'm trying to make to you is this: that's black jumping all over the place. I mean, we didn't, you know, I stood on the coast of West Africa. D'Angelo stood in Canada. You know, we need to go and make contact. Like I said last week, you know, a hug doesn't feel so good when it's a text.
That's true.
You understand what I'm saying? You know, a kiss doesn't feel so good when it's a text. We need to physically put ourselves back in each other's presence, because the reason, none other than the fact that there's this energy that flowed between the two of us. That's how we made contact, because of an energy. It wasn't like I knew anything about him and he knew anything about me. It's just we had this blackness thing, this energy going on. And it automatically said, you know what? Touch hands. So that, you know, that's a shared energy. And this is never going to, these are bonds that I never intend to break. And that's what we have to do. We have to support each other like that. That's what I'm talking about.
Well, so for me, I'm ready. I'm ready to talk with any black filmmakers who would want to do either co-productions or shoot there, or just come around and just see the area, or bring their wives for holiday.
There we go. Don't threaten me with a good time.
Yeah.
Let's see over there. Nah.
Yeah, Kenya was voted as...
Or bring your wife to work on the films.
Yes.
Hey, there it is.
Yeah, that's right.
Keep it in the family.
Kenya was just voted one of the most romantic sites in a movie scene.
That's what I'm talking about.
Up in the mountains, one of the areas that we have. And just to pitch in Nairobi, Kenya, by the way, Biggs, I'm going to make sure that I bring for you proper tea for the next...
I'm a tea guy too.
The next tea or coffee shall be from Kenya. It's actually tasty tea. Our tea is used to blend other teas and other coffees. So it's a premium product. But one of the things that I want to push and talk to people about, it's the whole idea. It's time to tell our story.
Yes.
And we have different mediums. You can tell your story through your social media, like you're saying earlier before. Right. You can tell your story through short films. Right now we're shooting on with the cameras, with our phones. You can tell through food, through how you dress.
Through your podcast.
Through your podcast.
You know, filmmaking.
Bring them ladies back.
Filmmaking is the only art that you got to ask for permission for.
Right.
Because of the cost, because of the system that Hollywood has created. They've created all these obstacles that make you got to have this budget, you got to have this star, you got to have distribution, you got to get into film festival. You got to jump through all these hoops. And by the time you get through that,
you're old.
Well, not just that. The film you started with may not be the film that gets released.
Yep.
Right.
But what you're saying is you don't have to do all of that. I mean, you still have to satisfy some of your masters who excuse the expression master, but the people who are producing or financing it.
Right.
But you don't have to jump through so many hoops to get a film made and get it out to your people. And you also don't have to compromise. So
think about it. East Africa has, if you put in Ethiopia and Somalia, who we pray soon are coming into the East African community, total number as is 270 million people. If you add the two countries, we're already at 390 or 370 million people.
To watch your film.
Well, you don't need 100 million.
Not just watch, they want your films.
They want your films. I mean, this is the point.
This
is the biggest thing that I think.
Sorry, Tony.
Go ahead.
Kenya has the fastest internet in Africa. We're hitting 5G plus, which means we have some areas has faster speed than areas in America. Wow. We have the highest mobile phone penetration in many parts of the world.
You know, you ever heard of the company Orange?
Yeah.
I mean, their headquarters is in Abidjan on the Ivory Coast.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And see, this is what I mean. So when I talk about dominoes, we the block dominoes, if we make contact with each other. So there's these architects that built and designed their headquarters. And you probably know the guys, probably. These guys are ridiculous.
Sorry, just to, this is how cool it is. My minister for foreign affairs and diaspora in my country is actually a filmmaker. This is how cool it is.
This is what we talk.
How better it is to have a job like mine, whereby I'm in Hollywood and my boss is actually a filmmaker.
That is a title for you, Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Foreign Affairs and Diaspora.
It's a title right
He
there.
understands
What we do.
what we're talking about.
Wow.
So when I promise you that you're going to come to Kenya and actually make and shoot a movie, I know that I have the backing of the government.
I got a story.
To actually do this.
I got a story.
Are you folks that are out in the audience listening to this?
I
You hear
got a
what this
story
man
for you.
said?
I got a story. So my wife used to work for Walmart.
But they also have
As
a
a-
wife. She's not here. Baby, I love you. Thank you very much. Next time I'll bring you. So these guys cannot kill me with my wife. Okay, my wife. But now she is our wife.
Please.
So my wife used to work for Walmart as a allocator. So basically what that means is that if you went into Walmart in the early 2000s, you went to the DVD section, she would be the person who would get the movies from the vendors and fill up the shelves.
Okay.
And she used to always tell me that they had anything with a black face on it. The moment she puts it on the shelf, they grab it.
It's gone.
They don't even read the description. They don't care what the movie's about. It's got a black face on it. I want it.
Tell me your story. That's it.
Yeah. So if you create content starring us, there's an audience.
It's always has been.
There's an audience.
It's just that they have taken it and put it to where it's like, and we did it. We did it to ourselves because, we got a class system amongst blacks as well.
Right.
And so I don't know anybody that back in the day didn't buy a DVD off the street.
I know. Or a CD.
And the thing is that you got to remember that when you bought that
Sell CDs, man.
the guy that made the movie, the guy that wrote the movie, didn't get paid for what you just bought.
No, not a dime.
Let me ask you guys.
Yes.
Let me ask you guys. I'm an action guy. How would,
Okay.
because this one doesn't need now for you to raise $2,000, $3,000 to come to Africa. But what if we set up a virtual writing room and a thought room
Let's do it.
where we can be able to get writers from all over Africa and writers from America, people of black origin, to be able to just talk about ideas and bounce off each other, find each other in that whole thing. So BlackRaters.com becomes a place whereby, like a kitchen where we're just cooking stuff.
Kenny's Kitchen.
And in there you're able to meet somebody can do co-collaborations or just understand the vibe or listen to music. I already know my boy right there, Lovence, is about to do a track with you tomorrow.
Let's do it, baby.
Yeah.
We got
That sounds like a pipeline right there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you guys this. I mean, one of the things that we did this thing last week. My wife was here. She's at home with my kids, so she's not. That's the reason she's not here. But the thing that I wanted to say is this: is that it's always going to be positive energy in here, and we're about to wrap this thing up. I want to just ask: do you have anything that you would like to say to the audience before we cut out?
No, support BlackRaters, support black films.
Ted, how about yourself?
Yes, for me, I just repeat again what I just said. That unless you're on the table, then you're on the menu,
That's it.
regardless of
like
whatever
that.
position or whatever area you are.
And
Like that.
I'm with that.
And if you can't get a seat at the table, make your own table.
Make your own.
That's
table.
it.
Yeah, if they raise the rent, buy the building.
Buy the
Buy
building.
the building.
Yeah.
This is the change that's happening now. This is the new evolution. This is the international fusion of America and Africa coming together, creating something new and beautiful.
Brazil, Jamaica, Caribbean. If you got that pigmentation, come join the BlackRater Nation.
Right. And
All right? Because I'm just telling you right now, these two have never met.
Nope.
They've never met. But I guarantee you one thing, that they will never forget each other. We all walk this world as a family, and we need to continue to understand that, sometimes you might disagree with your family, but they're still your family. And I know a lot of people say family is about something different. Their friends are more like family. Well, still, if you look at it, they're still family, all of them. So just treat everybody right, love each other, everybody right. And what I'm going to do is I'm about to exit this joint with this song. What's this artist's name, Ted?
We got Kenya in the house.
Yeah,
y'all.
so the artist is called Lovence McKenzie.
Lovence, can you come out here for a second,
He's off
please?
Albuquerque in New Mexico. And he's a great artist. He just did what we're trying to say. He's Kenyan American, but he went out to South Africa, and then he came out down to Nigeria and America. So he's done a whole mashup of 4 different cultures and styles.
Well,
Yeah, so the style is Afrobeat, but what we decided to do is that Afrobeat is everything which is African, regardless of what you're doing, is what it brings us together. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for.
What is this?
Where did the studio voice come
You know
from?
what I'm saying? It's like Dr. Smooth in the house.
Kenya Radio in the house, yo.
I like that.
All right.
All right, come over. I want to, it's your song. Let's drop that. This man right here, you want to say anything right quick into this mic?
It is mine.
Tuck your joint into my.
Give me my phone.
Yeah. We got Kenya Radio in the house, BlackRaters.com. We got new artists in there. What's your name, big brother?
My name is Lovence McKenzie.
Lovence McKenzie. Google that.
Yes.
Along with
Pull it
Marcos
up.
Mays.
And I'm honored to be here.
Well, we're honored to have you.
Yeah. All for the culture.
Hey.
All for the culture.
You know what it is we got a perspective, and from my perspective, I think that it's the only perspective I can see. Right?
Shout out to my dad. It's his birthday today.
Happy birthday, Mr.
Happy
Mays.
Mr. Mays. I love you.
All right, kick it.
Is that my joint? Okay,
Let's
here we
do
go.
this.
This is Kenya and my man right here, BlackRaters.com. Check it out. Yeah. Big ups to my man, Big T from Kenya.
In the shizo.
Yes, I.
Mr. Porter in the house.
Port up in Chi-Town.
Want to hear yourself?
What?
Touchdown.
Ladies, it's okay to dance.
Combo shots, now
It's okay to dance.
Rambo. Yeah, pick us all high down, go fast, nigga, come on, go, Lambo.
This is fire. So, as we check out of here, I want you to just remember, you know what? All we need to do is just unite and look at it from the same perspective, which you can't do nothing but because it's the black perspective. Brazil, Ghana, West Africa, East Africa, South Africa, and North Africa.
International.
All the islands, baby. All the islands. Yeah, man. We all here. And we want to just support each other and do the biggest, greatest things that this world ever seen. And Wakanda's coming, so let's check that out. Support, all right? And we might not be supporting the biggest fish in the room, which is not going to look like us, but we are supporting those actors, actresses, the directors, producers, all of it. Let's go.
Biggest is relative too.
Let's do it.
Remember that.
Good night, and thank you for watching. And we'll have this up soon, and you guys can come and join our energy.
Subscribe, BlackRaters.com.